Content, warning, sexual assault, and violence. I look down at the object in my hand, watching the blood drip, drip, drip from the cool silver blades to the tile floor, the white stone now stained with red. Ava, are you all right? Mrs. Mullen looks at me, her eyebrows furrowed and raised in concern. You're quite pale, dear. Do you need to go to the nurse? I'm not sick, the words sound strained. Agonizing. I blink and then squeeze my eyes shut. The blood is still there. The white tiles. I open my eyes. Mrs. Mullen still stands over me, biting her lip. Ava, honey, it's all right. You need to go to the nurse's office. My orders, dear. Eric, can you accompany her to the nurse, please? Sure, Mrs. M. I got it. Eric smiles at me. I stare at his lips. They're full and red. Too red. Bile rises to the back of my throat. I swallow hard. My eyes follow the blood dripping, dripping, dripping. A line on the floor. A trail leading to it. The body lying on the white tile. A black sneaker. Need some help? Eric holds his hand out to me, smiling crookedly. His green eyes glitter. I stare at his fingers for a moment. Each nail is perfectly cleaned and trimmed. His skin looks rough and dry. A strange juxtaposition. I rise to my feet, ignoring his hand. Something flashes in his eyes. I blink. He's smiling again. He stuffs his hand into his pocket. I look away, dazed, confused. What is happening? I can go alone, I say through gritted teeth. The memory, was it a memory? Of the white tiles and the blood and the sneaker, vivid and vibrant and everywhere. I can't remember. I can't remember how I got here. I look around, dazed. Everything's blurry. There exists in this universe only the tiles and the blood. Mrs. M. told me to go with you. I think she makes a good point, honestly. You look like you're about to throw up. He turns and walks to the door. He holds it open for me, gesturing with his other hand, still smiling with that crooked little grin. A wave of nausea. I clench my fists and walk through the door stiffly. Eric follows close behind. The door shuts loudly behind us. Silence, except our footsteps against the floor. The white tiles. My eyes travel further, across the black sneakers, across black jeans, across a black leather jacket. Still, unmoving hands. Black hair. So much darkness, everywhere. Silence, everywhere. Stillness, everywhere. Here. Come this way. It's a shortcut. Eric veers down a hallway to the left, away from the main corridor that leads to the nurse's office. It's dark where he is. A light flickers above him, casting strange shadows across the walls. I pause. No, it's this way. It'll be longer that way. Come on, I've been this way 100 times. I hesitate, but Eric's green eyes soften. That smile again. It's sweeter this time. He beckons me forward. Come on, I just want to get you some help as quickly as possible. Don't want you to faint or something. A light laugh. I glance down the main corridor one last time. Another wave of nausea. He has a point. I sigh before following Eric down the narrow hallway. How did I get here? Where are we going? The blood and the tiles and the black sneakers and the black jeans and the black jacket and the black hair are everywhere. I can't remember. Eric walks ahead of me, hands in his pockets, whistling. Then he pauses in front of a yellow door on the right wall, which rests between rows of lockers. Here, he says. The shortcut. It looks like a door. What an astute observation. He laughs softly, gently. You must really be sick. I'm not. You don't have to use your energy to talk. Just follow me. We'll get you some help. I promise. He opens the door and walks inside. I don't know where he is going. I don't know why I am here. The black clothing and the blood and the white tiles dance across my eyes. Darkness, silence, drip, drip. I follow him inside. Wait, what is? The door shuts. It's dark. Black. Blood. White tiles. Black sneaker. I feel his hands. I try to shout, but I can't. Something covers my mouth. It is rough. I bite down. Hard. A swear word, whispered harshly. I taste it, then. Blood. A lot of it. Blood. Dripping, dripping, dripping. I struggle. I fight. I feel the energy burst from me, and I explode, swinging and biting and flailing and kicking, trying to shout, to scream. Black sneakers, black jeans, black jacket, black hair, green eyes, still gone. Something pinning me down against the door. I can't breathe. I feel the lips then. I taste the blood. A hand on my skin, beneath my shirt. Panic. Remember, it was beside you. On the desk. Feel for it. Stop fighting. The weapon flashes before my eyes. Dripping, dripping, dripping. No. Before that. Feel for it. Yes. The table. I see them, clearly, resting there, sitting peacefully in the light of the small office space, sitting upon a wooden desk. I stiffen, stopping my movement cold. The hands stop in surprise. My hand darts out to the left, and I feel around in the darkness. Something hard. A desk. My fingers travel across. The hand on my skin starts to move again. The hand around my neck squeezes. There, the scissors. I wrap my hands around them. Drip, drip, drip. I plunge them into his chest. Stillness. The hand stops against my skin, and the other releases my neck. I hear him gasp, and then he stumbles backwards, slipping, falling. Silence. Everything is still. I am breathing. I am the only one. Dripping. The scissors are in my hand. With my other hand, I slowly feel along the wall until I feel the light switch. I turn it on. Eric lies on the ground. Still, quiet. Black sneakers, black jeans, black jacket. Black hair, ruffled and messy. His eyes are open. Green. Unmoving. I look down at the object in my hand, watching the blood drip, drip, drip from the cool silver blades to the tile floor, the white stone now stained with red. Story 2. Forsaken, forsaken. In a dark, gloomy shadow night, shades of my former self reflect on the asphalt. What will happen to me? An unusual question indeed. Suddenly, I foresee the future, and it feels as real as the memory of the pain this has caused, Julius thought. Sometime in the past, everyone has problems, seems to be the life slogan of society. But there are exceptions, and Julius being the living example, about to taste the sweet kiss of death. Being born in a conventional household to rich parents to an unconventional upbringing, being fed with a silver spoon, never learned any discipline nor any consequences as an only child that grew into a tall, handsome, athletic young man which developed an obnoxious disregard and a lack of remorse. And empathy for others but himself. An entire takeover of the family business being promised, including a sole will, consequently having nothing to worry about, let alone having friends, even though unreal, as he doesn't care for real friendship, as well as romantic love affairs with women of a platonic and sexual nature only. With such an upbringing, taking things for granted comes natural. Little does he know, so does his destiny. Why the disregard towards people, rules, and authority? The class tour guide asked Julius, while on a trip at the Mountain of the Fallen Cemetery, after repeatedly spitting, kicking, and drawing on soldiers' tombstones during a history class about their nation's fallen heroes, thinkers, and statesmen, to which he replied, "They're all forsaken." Anna Lee, the bullied girl from the opposite side of upbringing, poor, not popular, with no future other than constant suicidal thoughts, a slight hunchback, daughter of an alcoholic abusive graveyard keeper, and a deceased mother, heard that and instinctively asked Julius to stop. As for her, the dead are sacred. He replied, "Your life is that of a forsaken corpse underneath all these rocks." And furthermore, he let her know that much like these corpses rotting, nobody cares about her, even though she is alive. Struck by the painful response, as she knows the importance of keeping one's memory alive, she went home. While at home, her father, in a drunken rage, is telling Anna Lee to take over his shift at the cemetery, due to his inability as he is about to pass out. "If you want to continue living here, go to work," he shouts. Having worked with him at the cemetery in the past to help out and make a little extra cash before her mother passed away and her father fell into this demonic illness. In anger, she told him she doesn't want to, instead insisting for him to get help. Angered by it, he continues on to say, "This is why you're plagued with the terminal diseased bitch of a mother secretly wanted to die. You're a spoiled little brat that doesn't work and doesn't even take care of her own father. Get out of my fucking house," he screamed in a raspy, drunken, angry voice, tripping over the couch as he tried to throw a plate at her. Anna Lee ran out of the house into the rainy night. Doing so, she didn't know how much she cried due to the heavy rain. As the rain calmed, so did she, and the night turned into a mistful, foggy one. Having no friends, her only escape was the cemetery her mother was resting in. She sat there, talking to her, as if those she felt is the only person listening. In fact, dead people were the only ones that understood her, she felt, as she was seemingly the only one that keeps the memory of the dead alive, even though in an obsessive way, wishfully thinking that if she does it hard enough, they've come to live. Growing up in her environment, fairy tales, even if dark, is an excellent escape mechanism. It's how she copes with fear of dying herself while going through life unnoticed seems to be a bigger threat. She knew she had to do something, take destiny into her own hands, let the people pay that treat the dead so disrespectfully while going through life without aftermath, nor struggles themselves, while never being disrespected themselves, instantly thinking of Julius. She felt like killing herself so she can be reunited with her mother and be one with the Forsaken. But she didn't want to let Julius to get away with hurting and bullying her and others in the past as well as in the future. He must pay. She has to make sure he suffers, as she always did, or perhaps greater. She imagined her mother's spirit saying, "Come join us in eternity. Let others live, but take a little of their evil spirit away to bury so you can leave the world a better place. Leave your father alone, as he will be punished enough," she imagined further. One night, after watching Julius coming back from a cheating love affair, he got into his car to drive home. Anna Lee has made up her mind to take her own life, which shall be caused by him, so he can live plagued with guilt, psychological instability ruining his life, possibly ending up in prison. His path home led through a dark street surrounded by forests outside of town. Anna Lee hid behind a tree when she finally saw his car approaching. She jumped in front of the car, hoping to hit her into her certain death. Instead, Julius reacted and instinctively drove to the side, off the road, into a tree. Anna Lee, in total adrenaline and shock, ran away from the scene as she didn't want to help him in case he survived, however certain that she had killed him. 6 months later, Julius woke up from his coma. He survived the crash. Outside of several fractured bones, a concussion, a broken rib, and a broken leg, he suffered a rare kind of amnesia. He couldn't remember anything past the day after the accident, however. He did see the future, and it was dark. He saw his whole life running a movie. His future wife begins an affair as he is incapable of an emotional relationship, ultimately falling out of love with him. He, on the other hand, wants desperately to stay with her, because that is the condition for taking over the family business, as he would be incapable of running it with the lack of people skills and maturity. The one way he thinks how to save the marriage, without it ending in divorce, is to try to have a child, which his wife agrees to but ends up in miscarriage. As a result of that, he will fall into alcoholism, abusing his wife, and blaming her for the miscarriage, ultimately ending up in divorce. Unaware that his future destiny is a result of his bad behavior in the past, he grows to become a greater demon than his inner ones. He is written off the parents' will, and he will be falling more into drug and alcohol abuse, fear, anxiety, and into total insanity. In a parallel timeline, Anna Lee saw the suicide survival as a sign, a mission, perhaps one to be lords of destiny for the unjust, unliving, and the forsaken. She is last seen at the cemetery, talking to the dead, asking for further telepathic inspirations to forsake the evil spirits that are still among us. Story 3. King Animal. He lived but knew he was not of them. The whole village was a tribe that turned to beasts at night. It was the curse, the pact so ancient. It protected in the days of war, and among men he was dejected until he made a decision, knowing somehow he didn't belong. In a village far away, he would procure a charm that would make him invisible, unseen by eyes of men. Sufficiency for each day, for he would steal only what he wanted. He would steal. The native doctor made it clear that Ase was so high, he could tell the rest of the world what the weather was like up there. The charm would be prepared. It was fate. He couldn't escape being turned into a beast, one way or the other, as a matter of fact. In this case, not the distorted thing his people shaped to, but a pig. The witch doctor's best bet it was. He had agreed to turn into this astral pig, so he go outside the radar of the enemy. Some couldn't go higher, and some couldn't go deeper either. He had to go to the marketplace in the night, when ghosts also came to trade, and the uninitiated couldn't tell the natures apart. The pig he had bought, he had banged on his laps and mounted a commercial motorbike. That was to be the astral counterpart of him, a second personality. It was remonstrating. His pig self somehow managed to wrench off and went scampering. He chased and got it back all right. The native doctor told him he had to accept his fate and let be made this pig and eaten. That way he would be lowered hellward, where with his abilities gained he would acquire powers truly incredible, including invisibility. He was predestined to rule. Right in front of him, the painted eye ate the animal up, and he had to spend the night at the sanctum. And that night, he had another dream. He was at school and was accused of a certain offense. It was not clear. Something about poke-nosing. He was to choose to let be flogged and remain in the school or be expelled. He chose to rather leave. Then he woke up. To the street he took it, but it wasn't easy to know whether it was business as usual for a young man no one loved. The first person, no notice. He could pick up a melon to see if the dealer by the stand would notice, but he hated to steal. Second person, this time a man, he greeted. The man responded. So the pig ritual didn't work. I was meant to be unseen. He would be busting the pseudo-soothsayer when he saw him again. However, when he got to the shrine, the witch doctor asked him if he had any strange experiences he didn't tell, especially the night he slept under the watch of the carved gods. The native doctor stared at the young man in front of him. Now he knew he was dealing with a psychic leftist. When Ase first came to him, he told the sorcerer his right foot kicked when he received a bad sign. To everyone else, it was the left foot. As the young man narrated his dream, he knew this man was truly a glitch. He chose leaving the school over a little whipping. You ruined it. Going back to school means being set back. Getting flogged means being relegated to the level to be a pig. And you resisted? Pulling himself together, he shooed him out. What nonsense. But he was back at the soothsayers. This medicine man who couldn't send nothing to Hades. They spoke over the phone, since his stubborn soul insisted on soaring. He was going to prepare him another charm, this time with a kite. Just soar, but come down once in a while, you oaf. Again, he set out to get the kite. The kite he brought was a female one. Oh, you're a bloke. Or didn't common sense tell you the kite was you? Symbolism that was the essence in medicine making. Why didn't he just specify from the outset? Is this idiot not just biding time? He left the jazzman again and hid all day with a boat that ducked by the swamp near the river. There he made a fire. As the fire blazed and swooshed in the southwest wind, he saw the hawks begin to soar. Then he smoked and waited. The male kites were a little more catchy and bigger. It was in one of the low trees of the mangrove, and one of them must be caught when it came to roost. So he waited for it to come and shot it. When the entrails were prepared, he would tie the charm around the waist. Needless to say, it didn't work. He had learned to use the internet by now and could work from home in seclusion. Then AS once told him he needed a DNA test, for it was obvious he was not of that clan. Even at that, if he found out his father was not his father, how could he find the real one? And his father hated him. The black sheep, the disgrace to the darkness. Even then, he still refused to die, availing his father the back seat in the coven. He couldn't come near him, how much more take a DNA sample? The last time he went to the medicine man to tell him the kite thing didn't work was when he knew he had to strangle this wizard. They were all the same. How could this juju dude tell him to kill and get the 2 hearts of blood twins? He watched that filthy, cola nut-stained mouth say it would mean linking him simultaneously with the above and what's below. Balderdash. Now where is the money? He would throw the rest of the things outside until these villagers came to settle stuff. But he knew what they would say. They'd say to return so the elders could talk and decide when the seeker would get back his money worth about $1,000. But he knew he wouldn't last a minute there if he returned. But with his condition, with his village people, he was dead anyways. 2 villages against 1 man. Pretending to be operating the phone to check a text message, he put the device on record and videoed the illiterate repeat himself about murdering innocent kids. He got him. This was going to the police unless he gave him back the ritual charge. He turned to go, looking resolute, knowing he got this man and who would beg him to wait. Wait. At least I know how to make you find your clan. Never can tell why your late mother never fit in. Only a woman can tell who her son's father really is, he said, raising his hands. Fingernails, son. The hair, a drop of your blood. Don't think I'm crazy. I could do a check right now. It's going to work, my friend. Now this idiot is going to perform a DNA test here. In spite of himself, he was going to laugh. Now he was going to conjure some advanced lab test here, while labs couldn't still test samples in Nigeria. His blood, his nails, all in a clay platter. 3 animal skins. His thoughts were far away. He could hear the witch doctor telling him he was lucky that he belonged to any nation on earth, at least. He was trying to be funny, asking if his mother was too beautiful to stick to just one. He could punch him. He hovered the animal skins, and his feeble frame almost fell over. Then he saw his young blood begin to act, turning black first, under the skin of a monkey, then the skin of a dog, then the skin of a python. The medicine man looked up with veins snaking his face. "You're lucky," he said. "At least you will find your people." He was still to process it. What did the hides of animals have to do with this? Was this evolution theory? He had been told the spirits of man incarnated in the wombs of highly developed apes who kicked them away once they realized these offspring, with 5 fingers, rather that 4 had the knack for standing erect. Now the dog and the snake. What? Blah, blah, blah. Where? The old man seemed detached. He looked a little startled, as though his client shouldn't still be here. "Speaking with so much ardor," he said, "they tell you in your Bible that the blood is the soul, and you wonder why. It is the means by which the spirit expresses through your blood radiations. The soil you belong to. I know exactly where you come from. There's only one class that doesn't eat the 3. In that place, you will find peace. These 3 things you should abstain from: the monkey, the snake, and the dog." So near the campus, where he found students from all walks of life, ate monkey meat and drank gin, out in the ghetto, at the bush bar, where some of the tribesmen from the Niger Delta sold dog soup, in the farm, where his Ghanaian friend farmed snakes, he had been eating his life's existentialistic answers. The witch doctor said only royalty forbade the 3, and he had the birthright to kingship, as blue-blooded as they come. It couldn't be his own king. But wait, he heard the story, how his mother claimed she ran from the house to save a 2-week-old pregnancy from the battering husband, and then returned looking pregnant. And this old flames must still be some pagan and uncivilized kingdom, for in this era, who abstained from anything. He couldn't be a pig, he couldn't be a kite, but at least he could be a caveman. He had abstained from meats for 90 days, and then, in a kind of, it wasn't a dream. I wasn't a trance and experience, if you like, but he saw it, a dream quite right for dynasty.